Welcome on into the ESPN Chicago Post of HBO's Hard Knocks Bears training camp. I'm Jeff Miller, and as you can see, I got J-Mac, Jason McKee, and Dion Miller. You can hear her on our Bears pregame coverage along with Peggy and Dion every Saturday. And we are just instantly reacting to the first Bears HBO Hard Knocks show. All right, guys, first thoughts, first reaction here. What do you think? I'll let you start, D. What do you think?
I loved it. I took notes. This will surprise neither one of you, but I took actual notes and I was so invested. You did too, Jeff.
Oh yeah.
Love you.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Come
I
on.
knew you would. There's a couple of there's so many things. First of all, one of the things that I kept thinking about was like watching it with my son, right? Like, and like wondering like what would the language be like. There was not one swear word in that entire episode. Not one. Like, I thought that was interesting just because Hard Knocks is known for being super raw and football is about being raw. And I didn't see that at all. Way more Eberflus than I anticipated and way more. And we only saw Kevin Warren one time, which was also shocking. So those were like the biggest and poor, like there were so many things. Karan Amagaji playing the cymbals, maybe it was my favorite thing of all time. Like that, it was so precious, like him with his little cymbals. It was just a great moment for me. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because we've never seen the Bears like that. I enjoyed it because it felt like I have felt all along through training camp, J-Mac. I don't know if you felt this way too, but I feel like this is such a likable group. And I felt like this episode highlighted the fact that they're likable. And Caleb Williams talking through the mistakes he was so clearly making and understanding the like where he's at in his development and growing with that. I thought that was really well done, the way that they kind of told his perspective, but also the reality of what he was going through.
Yeah, I think just overall, I like that they hit pretty much every storyline that has transpired throughout training camp. And I really enjoyed the segment in which, Coach Eberflus was talking to Nick Saban. And as a coach, I was taking notes, talking about the type of leader that Caleb needed to be, with having so many expectations around him, the type of leader he needed to be, not a transactional leader, but a transformational leader. And that's very true. All the great quarterbacks that we've seen play in this league, they're transformational leaders, meaning they make everybody around them better, not just on the football field, but in the building in its entirety. So I really enjoyed that conversation. And then, like you said, Dion, just getting to see, another side of Coach Eberflus that we haven't seen, like just seeing him get his haircut, just seeing him how the beard came about and how the new look came about. And, just to see him being inviting to his staff, inviting them into his house, into his home, having that little get together. Like those are all things that build chemistry that leads to success. And it was good for them to put that on display, in this first episode of Hard Knocks.
I'm really glad you brought that up about Nick Saban because I literally wrote down the words that I would like to play for Nick Saban. Like, I'm just everything he said. I was like, yes, coach. Yes, I would do that. Yes, it was awesome.
Okay, I think we met some of the new stars of this season, and their names are Kelly, Grace, and Giada Eberflus. I mean, we are going to be seeing the Eberflus women throughout this whole season. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was really, I wish that, we had gotten to know them, last year. So it's kind of cool to see them, smart, beautiful women talking football. It was fun. And especially we knew that it was his wife that was behind his new look. I knew it.
Peggy, my favorite thing she said was that he thinks he looks cool. That was like my favorite line. She's like, he thinks he looks really cool. And that makes me feel like.
How about the fact that she sends him to the barber? Jeff, when's the last time you went to the barber with a picture of what you wanted to look like? Now, women do that all the time. But men, and he brings, and one of them was Ryan Reynolds. I was dying. That was so funny.
Well, listen, they definitely hit on all the stuff that we here locally and very in tune with, but we did get the behind the scenes look. Look, something I mentioned at the start, of course, we should say, of course, thanks to the fine folks over at Dr. Pepper for presenting the post-game show here on the ESPN YouTube stream. Like the one thing they didn't run away from, in fact, they started with it. Look, the drafting of Caleb Williams, and then they went right into it. They got Ray Clay, they pulled him out for the intro, the serious song. It's like, hey kid, we know that you're not afraid of the expectations, so we're just going to go ahead and heap the biggest expectations on your shoulders, and we're going to comp you to Michael Jordan. And here's the Ray Clay intro for you. What do you think about that?
Yeah, they pretty much pulled out every Chicago characterization from. I did like, though, with the Blues Brothers song that they didn't play the part that everybody knows, that they played the beginning of the song where you were like, oh wait, yeah, that's the Blues Brothers, but that's the part that nobody ever listens to. Otherwise, it was all the typical Chicago, trademarks. But then when they said an outdoor, patio parties on the lakefront, oh, hello, Mr. Eberflus.
Oh, right.
Like,
right.
hello, that is some nice digs.
All right, let's bring in
some Mark
Sylvie
Silverman
and
thing.
We're live from, I believe, Jesse Rogers' place, or did you guys bail already? How'd you guys take it in?
No, we're here. So Carmen's out on the patio. We need to separate because we're on separate phones. And then there will be an echo otherwise.
There's no echo, Sylvie.
There's no echo? He's right out here. Look, you want to see where Carmen is?
I'm right here. I'm on screen.
But there's an echo.
Oh. I
Oh
don't
my
think
gosh.
there's not an echo.
So that's why I'm here. Carmen's
Oh,
out there.
Lord. Could you actually
So
all watch the show? Oh, there's Cap. Hello.
Okay, I gotta go.
Okay, I do have to say one of my favorite lines. I agree with what you guys were saying. The Nick Saban stuff was phenomenal. I mean, that was really amazing. And it made you realize that great coaches have philosophies, and he was sharing his philosophy. And the fact that he said, you stick with whatever your philosophy is, you have to stick with it. I thought that was pretty phenomenal. I did love the writer's line about, in Chicago, everyone can take the L, but what they really want is a W. That was a great line. That was a good Chicago line.
Peggy, we all oohed when that happened. My favorite, there were a lot of good parts, and I heard what you guys were saying. There were a lot of very touristy Chicago things in it. But the one thing that I liked during the game that I thought was a good insight was when Colin Johnson was balling out during the game, and Caleb Williams said to DJ, he goes, oh, he's going to be around for a while. And then DJ turned to him and he goes, oh, how many wide receivers do you expect to make the team? I thought that was good inside football stuff.
It was great.
Because DJ's counting. DJ's thinking Tyler Scott. Is Bayless on the team? So is he on the team or is he not on the team? Because I think we all think Colin Johnson's going to make the team. I do for one. But I thought that was good sideline stuff that gave us good access. It was Hard Knocks is supposed to be there for.
It was the best part of the show. Sylvie's 100% right. And Caleb's reaction made that entire conversation the best part of the show tonight. It did. It was that 10 seconds was the best part. The most revealing, the most hardcore football, the most real, all of it. We turned to each other and said right in that moment, that was really cool behind the scenes stuff. And Caleb sort of oh, he's balling. He's on the team. And when DJ says that to him as a 6-year, 7-year veteran in this league, he's like, how many receivers do you think are making? And Caleb's like, oh, wait. That was the best, the absolute best, most real part of the show was right there.
Okay, wait a second. I gotta say, the most revealing part of the show was Theo Benedict.
No.
And we can never
Well,
Yes.
you might be right about that, Peg.
Again without
Never.
Peg, you might be right about that. Maybe the second most revealing part of the show. How's that?
They could have left that out. They didn't need that.
Yeah.
Was just wasted.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
It was the second most revealing part of the show.
Okay,
Say that. Did you ever do that?
Our new guest who just entered this chat here, Lee Greenwood. What did you think of Theo Benedict's rendition of "You're Proud to Be an American" as he did him proud? I have to imagine in the American Eagle Speedo.
I thought it was a great choice. I thought it was the singing wasn't great, but I thought it was a fantastic decision on his behalf. So thumbs up. I laughed out loud when I saw it. So I thought it was the best part of the entire show.
And
I agree.
Hearing Amagagi in the background with the little symbols,
it's the best.
Was going to be like the fun part, and then all of a sudden, the big reveal.
Awesome.
You guys, I loved that DJ Moore signed a $110 million contract in the middle of special teams, and nobody flinched. I thought that was so cool and so interesting, and it made me feel like, gosh, Dion, pay more attention at practice. Like, people are leaving and coming and going, and like I didn't even notice. Like, I was like,
Why?
No one even noticed.
It was sneaky. It was sly.
It was very sneaky. Yeah.
Yeah, but how great was the reaction with him and Keenan? And
it's like awesome.
He starts telling everyone on the sidelines, I just put ink to paper and word spreads. And he's like, but I'm supposed to act cool. I'm supposed to act cool. So and him and Keenan just start getting into it. So.
You know, not to be too serious, but I thought that the reaction of Kevin Warren was the exact reaction that Sylvia and I had when we saw in Meller and everyone had the contract was that DJ is getting a great deal. He's getting $82.5 million guaranteed, but this was a win-win. He's getting paid $24 million a year over the next 6 years, which is already, for a player of his accomplishment and stature, is already, you could make the argument he's already underpaid after signing the deal.
Yeah. Waddle, Kevin's like, sign the deal. He's like, yeah, good job. Good job, Ryan. You did good.
Sign it quick.
Yeah. Hey, you guys having a sleepover tonight at Jesse's?
Yes, it's Jesse. Jesse ordered up. Jesse ordered up some wicked pies. I mean, look at these. They're beautiful. Like,
wow.
Like Napolitan, artisanal pizzas. And
you guys are having a Hard Knocks viewing party?
What? Okay.
You're having a viewing party with your Dr. Pepper and some pies?
Yeah, we had a Dr. Pepper viewing party at Jesse's.
Yep.
Watching the White Sox. Turn your phone sideways. I'm getting a text from Eric Ostrowski. Turn your phone
the other way. You can do it.
I gotta undo the.
I'm getting busy.
Wait a minute.
Gosh.
Wait. Speaking of the deep dish, we did get that very early on. Cap, what did you think? Was that Lou Malnati's deep dish? We got a reveal early on. And what were your initial thoughts?
How do you do it? Where do I go?
Number one, that was not Malnati's. No shot. I think that was probably Giordano's, is my guess.
Sons of bitches.
So are you out then, Cap? Does that mean you're done with Hard Knocks going forward?
I don't work for Malnati's.
You work for your wife who works for Malnati's.
She's not here, so I don't have to worry about it. I thought the show was spectacular, man. I had goosebumps when it started. I literally looked up to my late dad. I go, Dad, you would love this. This is sick. I thought it was spectacular.
It was good. There was a lot of fun, good stuff. Caleb seems so, I don't know. Like I go back to what I think Albert Brewer's the one who wrote it, or like he was quoting something that Ryan Poles told him at some point in the offseason. He's like, if this is an act, he's a psychopath. Like,
yeah, right.
He seems so unbelievably genuine, and like he's there supporting his the backup to the backup in the Hall of Fame game, and like he seems into it. He seems eager. He seems to like want to soak things in and want to get better. He seems supportive. Like, I don't know. I mean, if this is some sort of an act, he like needs to be committed. That's true. Like, it's
Carmen, and he picked like a Puss Rock song from John Legend to sing.
Oh, it was perfect. The chorus says, "Let's take it slow." I mean, it's so perfect.
Listen, if I'm gonna rip him for one thing, he needs to work on that was a pathetic fucking display. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, that was sad.
But I will say, Carm, I enjoyed the fact that he was so enamored meeting Marcus Allen. Like when he turned around to Eberflus and he was like, that's a legend, man. Like he loves football. I think that's awesome.
We noticed that right away. We're like, oh, there's a USC kid. Like, oh my God, Marcus Allen is standing next to me at the Hall of Fame game. Like he seems very real and genuine. So I don't know if it's an act. He's pulling an all-timer on all of us.
Doesn't it seem like the culture though is so different than what it was under Angelo, Emery,
different team, totally different.
Different team.
Jeff, what'd you think?
I loved it, but I want to see more Roma Dunze next week.
Jesse wants more Roma Dunze. I do too. I like Roma Dunze. I want more.
Same.
Well, you're going to see more of Giada Grace and Kelly Eberflus because those are the early stars of season 1 of this season so far. The Eberflus women.
And the bar. I say to Sylvie and Jesse, wouldn't it be nice to go to work every day and you had your own barber? He's dialing up your beard and your hair. Jason knows what it's like.
Well,
he knows what
jealous.
good life is like.
I'm jealous because they actually have like a barber room.
It's
Lovey let us have our barber at the facility, but he put us in the dungeon. So the dungeon was like the rookie lockers. They were downstairs in the basement, and it was dark. And like the barber, I'm like, hey, I want to make sure you have enough light so you don't mess up my hair. And I think that's the reason why I'm bald now because he kept pushing me back, because it was dark in the dungeon. So I'm kind of jealous about them having their own barber room.
Right?
Ryan Pace didn't do very good in getting players, but he got the barber room built.
Right.
We had to pay for our own fucking meals back in the day.
Lotto had to bring his own snacks.
Eberflus is a handsome guy. Not only did we know Peggy, he is handsome. And if you forgot how he used to look, they gave you a really quick course, and you're like, boy, has he come a long way?
Oh my God.
Sylvie, how about when Nick Saban said, there's very few players that do whatever it is. You were one of those. I'm like, he was?
Oh, wow.
Listen,
He looked beefy in his playing days.
he didn't he?
Yeah,
Oh,
real
that
big.
was-
Yeah, real
That
big.
was just back in the days of giant shoulder pads that he was.
Yeah, well, the shoulder pads, Tommy. That's what I said. I was like, those shoulder pads made it look a little bit.
You know what I was thinking too at the very beginning, Sylvia? You remember when Zach Pickens told us about Eberflus's house, the mansion? That fucking house is right on the water.
Ridiculous.
Lake Bluff. It is unbelievable.
Beautiful.
He's talking about the country club firing off fireworks. He's showing Ryan Poles. He's like, over here on the 4th of July, they shoot off fireworks over here. And I'm like, man.
Yeah, that over here was like New Buffalo.
How about Jalen Hurts? Right.
Tommy, that's got to be like Shore Acres he lives by, right?
Yeah, I think he's in Lake Bluff. I think that's where Nagy lived. Nagy lived up in. You were probably at his house, Cap, so you could confirm.
Oh, dude, Nagy hates me. A buddy of mine works for the Chiefs. He's like, I brought your name up, and Nagy said that motherfucker. Yeah.
I speak for all of us. I'm just happy that J-Mac wasn't electrocuted in Canton on Thursday. So good to see you, J-Mac.
Well, and
Jeff didn't care though. T-Med took care of me. Jeff didn't care. I didn't like the fact. Only thing I didn't like about Coach Flus that scene at his house is, the guy who was dressed like him. His daughter said, "Yeah, he looks like a receiver." And then Flus says, "Hey, I kind of look like a fullback in my outfit." I was like, "Hey, man, you're not all fat, you know what I mean? Come on, man."
That's good.
I didn't like that. I was like, "We're gonna talk to Coach about that, man."
Easy.
We're gonna have a discussion about that when I see him at camp tomorrow.
Deanna and I get to pick up a little bit of a little scratch for our voiceover work in the locker room scene. There you go.
A little.
You hope so.
You
It
get
was about 8
royalties?
seconds.
You get royalties?
We'll wait on that. We'll see. I mean,
Does anyone think Liev Schreiber's sounding old? When the episode started, I was like, wait, is that no Liev Schreiber?
We are getting old. We are
Carm,
getting
it does not sound like Liev Schreiber at all.
it didn't. I agreed with you. It did not.
Sylvie and Jesse, I'm like, wait, that's not Liev Schreiber. And they're like, no, it is. I'm like, that doesn't sound like him.
It didn't sound like him.
I thought it was a fill-in.
He's getting old. Damn, we're all too old. Fuck.
Not too old for a sleepover at Jesse's.
I'm sleeping right next to Jesse. There he is. I'm a cuddle.
Do you have your footy pajamas on, Carmen?
What's that?
You have your footy pajamas on?
I brought them. They're in my bag.
Be careful because Sylvie sleeps in the nude.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm Theo. I'm the ESPN 1000 of Theo.
His
Proud
little
to be an American.
Speedo. Yeah. His Eagle Speedo.
Oh my god.
We'll just start calling you Canadian Eagle, Sylvie.
That's all. Yeah.
Did you hear the move that Carmen did today for Jesse's housewarming? Tell this fool. This is a scam that Carmen's got working.
Scam.
He stole a bottle of bourbon from one of the sponsors.
No, I texted Jesse a few hours ago. I go, hey, tequila, whiskey, wine. Like, which do you prefer? And he goes, wine, but don't bring anything. I stopped at Liquor Barn. I got a bottle of wine. I'm staying up here tonight. I'm not staying at Jesse's, but like we're coming back up for camp, right? So I'm like, all right. So Kevin Z-Pack has to Waddle and Z-Pack unpack all the stuff after Waddle and Sylvie's show, all the stuff for tomorrow for Cap and Hoodie. And Kevin had to drop it off at my hotel. And Eric Ostrowski is our other producer going to come and get it tomorrow to take the Cap and Hoodie to set up. So I'm waiting in the lobby for Kevin to pull up so I can help him take all the stuff up to my room. So I take it. Now, at this point, I've already called the Uber. Like, I've got the Uber. I'm getting a ride over to Jesse's. I take all this stuff upstairs with Kevin. I dump it in the room. We go back downstairs. I get in the Uber. We're about, I don't know, a mile away. And I go, fuck, I forgot the wine I bought for Jesse. So I texted him. I said, Jess, I'm not turning around. I'm not going back. I forgot the wine.
Damn.
But I'll text a picture of it when I get back to the hotel. Like, it's sitting in the hotel room. I got him a bottle of wine. And then Jesse texted, don't worry, I'll gift it anyway. Because like 2 years ago, I gave Jesse a bottle of wine or whiskey. I don't remember what it was. I gave him a bottle for Christmas. He brought it to Waddle's Super Bowl party. And I go, Jesse, I gave you that for Christmas. And I'm like, I caught him ready.
Oh my
God. He shows up and he's got the bottle that I gave him. I go, Jess, I gave you that for Christmas.
Oh my God.
Hey Tommy, in the conference room where Yurko and Sylvie and I watched the Bears game Thursday, the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah,
we were cleaning up after the game. We have to clean up the conference room just a little bit. And I opened this box sitting in the corner. It was filled with little airplane bottles of bourbon.
What?
Yes. I can't tell you, it took every ounce of my control to leave it there. And all I could think about was my golf bag could use these bottles.
Was it leftover? Oh, you know what it was, Peggy? It was the leftover Elijah Craig from the golf? Oh,
yes.
Yeah. Get that.
I should have taken it.
You're a better person than I am, Peg. I would have run that shit into my bag and run.
You would have? Well, I didn't really know how much you guys get away with, so I was kind of like, yeah, I better not do that. They'll know it's me.
We got to go get it. That's it. But I'm going to give Jesse the wine next time, and he'll re-gift it. He'll re-gift it.
Keep the wine.
Give it to me and Peggy. Who are you not getting?
Look at this. I just want to know the sausage fest that's going on right now at Jesse's place.
Well, Tracy's here. There's Tracy's here.
There's Tracy.
Bless her.
Good for you.
Other than that, it's a sausage fest.
Oh my God.
We're gonna paint each other up in a little bit. Don't worry.
Oh my God.
Will that be live
Celebrate
stream?
the White Sox.
Yeah,
I hope not, D. I hope not. I don't want to see that.
I don't either.
Hey,
Yeah.
J-Mac, who was the best rookie
Oh,
song?
look who it is. Look
Who was the best rookie song, J-Mac, when you were playing?
Oh man, honestly, I don't even remember. I know Forte had a good one. Forte was pretty good. He had a good performance. There's a lot of them. I think that's the only one that really comes to mind was Forte. It was better than Caleb's. It wasn't that hard to be better than Caleb.
Yeah, that was.
That's true. That was real bad.
That was terrible. And especially when you have the words you got to at least study the words. Like, pick a song you know at least. Don't pick some you don't know. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Hey, I got a roll. I got a brand new
So do I.
puppy who's getting ready to have an accident in here.
You guys do the recap.
To the recap.
Go do the
No,
recap.
I got to take this puppy out right now.
Go do the recap on the White Sox.
You got to do the recap.
22nd loss.
And Joniak, the star of the show,
Yeah.
the star of Hard Knocks.
I gotta run, guys. Have fun.
Bye-bye. Yeah, that was pretty cool. On the same program with Joe Buck and Liv Schreiber. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Jeff, do you get your hair cut there too at the barbershop inside the
Never
building?
been in there. Never
No,
been in
is
there.
that players only?
That's
Players,
bullshit.
coaches only, man. Never
bullshit.
would have the guts to even knock on that door.
How about fair? Well, wait a second. He doesn't need it.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I don't know what you guys have been talking about. I had trouble getting on here with the volume and stuff, but One thing I wanted to see more of, I want to see more Matt Eberflus football highlights hitting people.
Yeah.
He looked like a marauder out there.
Yeah.
Shoulder pads are too big. You look terrible.
Those in the old days. Those
are the old
days.
days. Yeah.
I know yeah.
That's what your middle linebacker looked like in the old days, and maybe a neck roll on there.
And a neck roll. I was gonna say the only thing that was missing was the neck roll, Johnny.
The neck roll, yeah. I heard he was a nasty player. That's what I hear.
JJ, we were talking about Nick Saban and how Saban was really, he had such a strong philosophy on how to handle a quarterback. And, I think I really took a lot away from that, always stand behind the quarterback so you can see what he's seeing and why he's doing it. Always be positive. Don't be negative. Don't tell them, show them. I mean, I just thought that Saban has such a great philosophy that great coaches have philosophies, and that really came through. And you really saw Eberflus really, sometimes we joke about it with his philosophies, but you know what? He sticks with it. He sticks with it. He believes in it.
Oh no, you want your coaches to have a conviction, because if they don't, and if they don't stick to it, they sound wishy-washy to the player, and the player doesn't know what to believe. So, everybody doesn't always agree with what a coach has in terms of a philosophy, but what you hear in the locker room, they got to hear at the podium, and vice versa. Otherwise, it doesn't come up. It could be Ditka-esque, right? That he sticks to that philosophy, or the modern day coaches, they do it a little different way. So I really feel the conviction is necessary, and some things may sound trite or silly or whatever, but it's a philosophy and you got to stick with it. But I was impressed with Saban too. It almost felt like they went back in time to when it was, coach and pupil back when he was linebacker. He was very attentive, listening to it. So it was pretty cool.
One thing I saw too, something we've talked about, and I think it was kind of subtle, but you can see signs of like, and not to be a downer about it, but like you can see signs of, I think the biggest hurdle, one of the biggest hurdles that Caleb has is to go through the process of being an NFL quarterback, where he's got to get the play called in from the sideline. He's got to get into the huddle. The play's got to be called, like the procedural part of it. And I think you can see some of that stuff that you see it when you're at practice. And I think, if you're watching closely too, you could see that there's some issue with that right now. And it's the one thing that they really, one of the things they got to really clean up between now and the start of the regular season.
Joniak, one thing that you said we were talking about when Saban was talking, I felt like he became the alpha. Yeah. And Eberflus became the student again. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Yeah. But it was cool to see that dynamic where
that's called?
Became the teacher again.
You know what that's called? Respect.
Yeah,
that Prince year-old
There was respect there. I mean, his eyes were glued on every word that Coach Saban was. I wish I could have met Coach Saban. That would have been kind of cool. But showing up in that Alabama colors, man.
It was on, it was off.
I love it.
It was like every time, every scene, it was different. It was on, it was off. It was on, it was off.
But it's great that he's still showing up in that Alabama red jacket. It's great.
Right, almost like his little TV commercial with Deion Sanders.
Like he's taking that that's the jacket he wears wherever he goes from here on out. That's it. He's got the Alabama red jacket.
Let me what you said, Tommy, about QB. None of this should surprise anybody, though. Right. I mean, in terms of that, and they put obviously a collage of practices together, and who knows what days those were. Obviously in Pat, so it had to be, the seventh day they were together. So there was a big ramp up there for the rookies first. So there has been a big jump. I think we can all agree, but this is not going to be some easy, everything's not going to go smoothly. So, I've been watching him because body language says a lot. I think as ex-players, you guys could agree with this, and we as analysts, and veteran sportscasters and reporters, we always look at body language to see. And I could tell, I could feel the disappointment when Caleb doesn't make the play, or it doesn't work out right, or if he's not getting the play calling, or if he has to hear it again throughout the time. And that's completely normal. Get it out of the way now. You got to work all that out. I love what DeAndre Swift, who's a young veteran. He's a young veteran telling him, hey, this is your rodeo now, basically. I forgot exact quote that he had.
He said you got the keys.
You got the keys. You got the keys. Yeah, so, and he does. He's got the keys. So he makes some wild throws. He'd like to get some of those throws back. And the more in tune he gets with the receivers and the continuity that we talked about on the show today and Waddle and Sylvie, that'll all be pertinent.
I like when he went back to the huddle at one point. He goes, all right, I'm going to be better. And I think Shelton turned to him and goes, we're all going to be better. We'll all be better right now. Like, I like that. I mean, like, he's accountable. Like, and I don't know, I like Jason, like, that matters, right? I mean, like, he's being accountable. Like, his teammates recognize it. Like, okay, we'll all be better now. Let's do it again. Let's do it right. We'll all be better.
Yeah,
I think we should also write down the fact that we actually saw Nate Davis at a practice. Did you guys? The day that DJ Moore signed, he turned around and it looked at him, and that's who DJ Moore said, I just put ink to paper. I'm like, oh, that's Nate Davis. Welcome to practice, Nate.
Nate said, you hurt your wrist?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Oh my gosh.
I've had a couple. I
like the fact that he was coachable. Like, you saw Coach Blues like telling him things about, okay, when you're going to throw the ball off platform, you still got to lean forward more to get the ball there. And he was receptive of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I've been around a lot of quarterbacks, play with a ton here, and not all the quarterbacks were like that. You know, I've been with a couple of quarterbacks that would have told the coach, okay, yeah, whatever, brush them off. You know, and like we talked about, you know, the accountability. Like, if you're a coach and you're not holding your quarterback accountable for the mistakes he made, then nobody's going to believe in what you're preaching, what you're saying at the meetings. And I've been a part of that too, where, you know, we've had, you know, quarterbacks here and you know, the coach that didn't hold that person accountable for the mistakes he made on the field. And we're sitting there looking like, well, you're not going to say nothing to him, knowing that he made a glaring mistake. And once you do that, you lose the locker room. You lose everything. Like, whatever you say, it doesn't matter because we don't respect you, because what you're saying, it means nothing because you're not holding everybody to the same standard of accountability. So I like that we saw, you know, like Colin said, you saw him saying, I got to be better. And then everybody else saying, we're going to be better. Like, that's great chemistry right there.
You know, it's interesting. I remember when we were at Western Illinois practicing against the Rams and Mike Martz. And Mike Martz, his philosophy, at least back then, was, hey, it's all on the receiver. It's not my quarterback. They didn't run the right route. It's not, I mean, if they're not there on time, it's not on my quarterback. It's on the receiver. So, and obviously that's with a veteran quarterback. Well, they had Trent Green and then Kurt Warner, obviously, but he kind of put the onus all the time on the receiver, if I'm not mistaken.
Nothing like pointing the finger before a play, right?
Yeah.
Joniak, I have a question from the chat. So I'm in the chat on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. And thank you to everybody who's tuned in on YouTube.com on the ESPN Chicago site. Nick wanted to know, because we were talking earlier that we thought it was an interesting scene when Colin Johnson was thriving, that Caleb Williams said, oh, he's going to be here for a while.
Yeah.
DJ Moore said, how many do you think are going to make the team?
Right.
So other than the big three, Jeff.
Yeah.
Okay, we know who the big three are.
Yeah.
Who are the wide receivers? And we could go around the room that you guys all think, we'll start with Jeff, that you think will make the team.
Yeah, as of right now, I would definitely put Colin Johnson on that team, Tyler Scott. Now, I mentioned those two right out of the gate because they have things that are different than the other three. The other three can do everything, Roma Dunze included. You know, it's gonna be a ramp up, obviously, for him to show all those different techniques and his ability to run routes. But Colin Johnson's got the size. He's got tight end size. He's been around. He just has been banged up, and he's had some injuries that have slowed his progress. But he's a heck of a blocker. And then, you know, you got to have the speed element, and Tyler Scott has got speed, and I'm not giving up on Tyler Scott. He spent a ton of time over the offseason and into camp getting better at tracking the football, and he's made some very nice catches. He's had some good chemistry with Caleb Williams and the other quarterbacks, Tyson Bagent included. So definitely those two guys I would put ahead of the pack in terms of the options they have.
Well, I mean, and like, listen, Scott's a draft pick from a year ago. Like, he's made. We know how this works. Like, Scott's making the team probably based on that alone. And if I heard you correctly earlier, Jeff, when you were on with Waddle and Sylvie, you guys were talking about Colin Johnson. Like, first of all, he's like, it's one preseason game. I get it, but like, let's see what happens over the next few weeks. But like, he showed out in that game. He's been at every practice. I think I heard you say they went to him and said, "You don't have to play special teams if you don't want to tonight." And he's like,
Right.
"No, I will."
Yeah.
And like that's a kid who's trying to, and he was here a little bit last year. So they already have some familiarity with him. He's got some familiarity with them. He's telling them, "No, I'll play special teams as well as receiver in the Hall of Fame game." He goes, he had one drop, fine, but like he balls out, he responds like that. Like
Garm.
that looks like a kid that,
I mean, he
looks like he's going to make the team. I mean,
listen, if there were any other answer, then yeah, I want to stay on the field, or that's cool. Yeah, okay,
I mean,
thank you. You're not on my team then, right? Because you gotta put your hand up. But also, he tore it up. He tore it up in practices last season, and I was told that repeatedly. And so when he got the opportunity, it was a reward for what he was doing in practice. So.
Looks like someone's going to make the team. I hope and he's an impressive, just physical specimen. I mean, he's doing all the right things. So
this is the same reason why Velus Jones is taking snaps at halfback now, because what did Flus say today when he met the media? He said, when you're a bubble guy, so he acknowledged that Velus Jones Jr. is a bubble guy. When you're a bubble guy, you got to find ways to use them. And he's more like a gadget back. That's how they used him last year. They had a couple of deep plays and he couldn't catch the ball a couple of times. But that's the same thing with Velus Jones. You cannot just be a return guy. And they're going to have DeAndre Carter.
When you're a bubble guy, you have to be out there for every preseason game. So the fact that Velus Jones wasn't out there is probably the one thing that had me most puzzled about Thursday night's game. I would put, I would, at this point, I'd put Khalil Herbert back there. Khalil's a running back that can give you something. And I think, as we've all kind of discussed now or come to the conclusion, that this new kickoff thing is more of a running play than it is anything. Who'd you rather have with the ball in his hands in a running environment, Khalil Herbert or Velus Jones Jr., and who gives you more in the regular offense? It's Khalil Herbert or Velus Jones. And I would tell you that it's Khalil Herbert. So, I don't.
Jeff,
didn't Khalil Herbert return punts his rookie year?
Yeah,
didn't Khalil Herbert return punts his rookie year?
No. I don't recall him ever returning punts, but he definitely returned kickoffs.
He did.
Yeah.
Sylvie's picking out on more pizza. We're going to go. Okay.
Cap, what'd you got?
I wanted to know the kid that hurt his hamstring, who stole
Theo Benedette.
Yeah, did he have a chance to make the team or the practice? Or
yeah, I would say he had a chance because, and albeit he was raw, but he's got a nasty disposition playing the position, which I love him already because of that. But he's just got some tremendous size. He's very athletic for his size. So he played tackle in college. His teammate on the other side, I think, was drafted by the Lions. So they were both 6'7" tackles for British Columbia University. But he really impressed them at, I think it was the Shrine game. And yeah, he would have been definitely a candidate to grow on the practice squad. Look at him. You saw all of them. So
he's big dude, man.
He's
flag on the play, Jeff. Flag on the play.
You saw all of them, and he's got.
You put a flag on the
play.
Yeah. He saw the eagle spread his wings.
But he's got some rust. Uh-oh.
Jeff, does the vibe at camp?
Hey, J-Mac.
It just seems different there. It just seems like they're in a really good place that we haven't seen. Is that a fair statement?
Yes. Listen, we can look at the roster and we can compare it to the past couple of years, and it's a, you know, you don't even have to know football to know they are a better football team in terms of personnel. Now, can they put the continuity together and marry it all together? That's really the key. And obviously, it starts at the line of scrimmage in both cases, and that's where we're going to pretty much focus on things. How that develops will tell the story of the season. Yes, Caleb will also tell the story of the season, but by virtue of football being decided in many cases at the line of scrimmage, one way or another, offense or defense, I think that's what we'll be watching. But yeah, I mean, they have some dudes. They have dudes. You can look down the roster and say, yep, that guy can play. That guy can play. That guy can play. And we couldn't say that the last couple of years.
Super cool.
All right, I have to ask the question: was anybody else a little like it was a cool moment that brought levity to the show? But was anyone else a little concerned about Caleb being prepared to slide and the fact that they had to bust out the slip and slide? How did we all feel about that?
I got to be honest with you. That took place last Tuesday when we were there for practice, and I was sitting watching with my son-in-law, and I almost think that it almost felt like it was something that maybe the Hard Knocks crew may have talked to them about. It didn't sound to me like it was an organic thing that they really, it was part of the, I don't know, it just felt kind of weird to me. It really did. So
no, I had the same thought. It was kind of like a new thing, and I wasn't sure. I mean, J-Mac, have you ever in your day seen a slip and slide busted out to show the quarterbacks how to? Or are you going to steal that for the high school squad for yourself going forward?
No, I'm actually not going to steal that. But I've never seen. I'm not going to do that with my kids. I've never seen that though. I've never seen quarterbacks learning to slide on a slip and slide. When I watched it, I was
Fields could have used that, right?
Who's that, Cap?
You're exactly right, Cap. Justin had a hard.
We all complained he didn't know how to slide. So
Yeah.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah, I was just worried about with everything as a coach, like you worry about injuries. Injuries is everything. Yep. So when I'm looking at the slip and slide, and I see them sliding down, and I'm looking like, man, like if Caleb gets up and slips, like and hurts himself, like. That's what I'm
worried about. Slip and slide. You can get under center Thursday night at the Hall of Fame game. That's what I gotta say.
The reps matter, Waddle. The reps matter on the slip and slide too, man. Those reps matter on that slip and slide. There's relevance there. We're getting prepared for the season.
More important than the reps in the Hall of Fame.
You know how to slide. Waddle knows how to slide. He was the all-time stolen base leader in Moeller High School history.
That's you damn right.
Oh, is that true? How many just swiped there, buddy?
1,000. No, I don't know.
So wait, Jeff, listen to this. I take Waddle to the Cubs-Reds game, and I go, let's go in the locker room. He's like, you can't go in the locker room before a game. I'm like, oh, my God. Yes, you can in baseball. So we walk in there. Barry Larkin or Griffey was his high school teammate. And so we walk in, and there's Griffey. He's like, Tommy Waddle? This guy's telling me that he is the all-time stolen base leader, and he played with you. He said, Tommy, tell him the truth. It's really hard for me to steal bases when I'm jogging every at bat. It was really good. Really good.
Pretty good. That's pretty good. Hey, we need to show a little bit of love to our friends at Dr. Pepper for sponsoring our
right here, Peggy.
Our Hard Knocks post-game show here. Our friends.
Come on, Peg. There you go.
Good job, Cap.
Does that say creamy?
The best. Creamy
it
coconut.
Is. It's so good.
Zero sugar.
It's very good.
And creamy coconut.
I love the original. I love the original. It's always the best. The original Dr. Pepper.
There you go.
Pat, the designer, are you young? Are you old enough to know the original? I'm just giving you a hard time.
I drink Dr. Pepper. Sure. I don't know. Did they change it? Did I miss it?
No, I'm just trying to get it. Trying to get you on the air.
So many flavors.
Did I miss it? I'm a fan of Dr. Pepper in all four.
I gotta take my dog out.
Is that code for something?
Pat, I have a 15-year-old poodle that if you don't take the dog out, the dog will shit all over the house.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I just took Maverick out. I got to let the
I
other
thought that was code
now.
for something. I thought I was going to say congratulations.
Funny, that's what Kara says too about her husband. If I don't get him home, he's going to shit his pants.
Exactly.
All right, Cap. We'll
Cap.
talk to you tomorrow morning, buddy.
See you,
Hey,
Cap.
Hey, J-Mac.
I'll see you up there tomorrow.
All right, Cap. Good to talk to you. Hey, I don't know. Do we need the shades?
No, look at they're actually reading glasses. Look.
Oh, they look like shades.
Yes, my hat. Look, they're reading
I thought you were
glasses.
trying to keep up with your buddy Pat.
Jeff, there's a joke there, but we're not going to do it on these airwaves just now. But there's a great joke there. But J-Mac, I'm going to leave you alone today.
Pat, you got the real McCoy. You got the microphone. You sound legit. We're all just background noise.
I mean, listen, I just I do this a little bit, Jeff. I'm trying to get like you out here.
I have a microphone, but it's not working.
Whenever you need help, I'll come through and hook it up for you. I'll set it up for you. I'm excited, man. I'm excited though. There's Hard Knocks. This, like, just being built around this team is just so much fun because it's such a fun team, and I feel like we haven't been able to say that for a few years. Like, it's everywhere you look, it's like, oh, that guy's exciting. Oh, that guy's exciting. Oh, that guy's exciting. Like, I'm just so ready to actually see Caleb Williams get some reps. Like, I got a lot of questions on where the offensive line is at and his lack of reps with a specific 5 guys. I talked to Thayer today on the Bears podcast, and he was like, we want to what's your ideal number is 1,000 reps with your quarterback and the 5 guys he wants out there. I don't know how we hit that number. I don't think that we can hit that number.
There's a lot of time left. You got to remember, man, even after the last preseason game, I think it's 17 days.
Yeah.
So they'll iron it out. They have to.
I think today was the biggest step towards it, though. In my mind, when I heard it sitting in the press conference room, hearing Matt Eberflus go, I don't believe that you can't lose your job because of injury. I thought that was looking at one guy on that line and basically going, listen, I understand you're going through things, but you got to be out there. And J-Mac has said it on the pod a bunch. He played through a bunch of injuries to make sure that he was on the field and nobody was taking his job.
Well, it also served as a message to the entire roster because, you may be a starter, but there are positions that are going to have some serious competition at several spots. So, right, J-Mac, it's not, they want him on the field. They want him on the field, and that is always the case. But you gotta maybe play through some things.
Yeah, I mean, even if Flus didn't say that today, like, hey, like, if he didn't reiterate the fact that you can lose your spot because of injury, we already know that it can happen. Like, you've seen it. Look at Drew Bledsoe gets hurt. Tom Brady comes in. There's no Tom Brady possibly if Drew Bledsoe doesn't get hurt. Trent Green got hurt, then Kurt Warner steps in and he becomes Kurt Warner. Like, if Trent Green doesn't get hurt, it does Kurt Warner have the Hall of Fame career that he had. So, like, he reiterated it, which is good to let Nate Davis know and everybody on that team know. But at the same time, as a player in this business for a long time, and you guys covered the game for a long time, you guys have seen a lot of people have lost their job because they've gotten hurt. And when players get hurt in this league, it just creates opportunity for the man behind them. So,
J-Mac, one of the things, though, with this offensive line is there hasn't been enough competition. So Nate Davis signs a new deal with the Bears, gets a little, it's just the phrase fat and happy, but that's what seems to, that's the impression people are coming away with, and now there's a little bit of competition, and that's different. That hasn't been the case. Guys sign a contract. There hasn't been a lot of competition on the roster in the past.
But Peggy, I don't think the impression is built from us, right? Like,
You know what I
mean? Like, his previous head coach was the one that set the standard of, okay, I understand what he can be, but there's a reason we don't want him back. And he said it publicly when asked about it multiple times.
Right.
We want guys on this team that practice. That was Mike Vrabel's statement when Nate Davis was out the door. That's been something that last season I've given 1,000,000% grace on. I don't even, when people complain about last season, it is what it is, but I understand, you do have to get out there at a certain point. But this season, I I'm glad to see Flus put his foot down. I'm glad to see Flus stand up for his principles and say, listen, it's not a cakewalk. You don't just get to be on the team because you signed for $10 million. You got to go out there and you got to win.
They got so many storylines out of the way in this first episode. I like, they really covered a lot. The Jonathan Owens stuff seemed to be, I mean, that was a huge story.
I was shocked by that it got in there. I'm not gonna lie.
And yet it was like such a kind of it was thrown in at the end, and like I felt bad for Jonathan Owens. He's by himself.
That was a no-brainer story though to put in there for sure. I knew that was going to happen, and you know those guys. I was told many times that some 400 hours of film for one hour episode. So I mean, they're going to be there into September. So we're going to you're going to learn a lot about your Chicago Bears in 2024 leading up to the season. So there's so much more to happen and so many other things to cover. And I know they've been miking up a variety of guys. It's just not the stars. So other stories will emerge. You know, guys trying to make the team, you know, all the traditional ones. But, you know, I'll say one more thing and then I got to fly. You know, I know it's important because, and it becomes stressful and it's distracting, but I always thought, you know, maybe that's more because of the line of questioning from media that players get put in. But when DJ Moore said after he signed and he went to the practice field, he just seemed relieved. And it's the quote of one less thing to worry about. And, you know, who knew he was actually worrying about it, but maybe it was on his mind, but they came to him 2 years early. I mean, that was insightful for me because even though I know it's a thing, I didn't really realize it, I guess, in that regard, especially this early in training camp and stuff. But yeah, security is great.
Yeah. And for him, you got to think, Jeff, probably just the fact that he's played with 12 different quarterbacks to this point. Are you you bring in a new rookie?
Yeah.
Does he want to be here long term? It seemed like he did because, of course, we end up getting the contract out of it. But just like you said, the security of it. This is the first time since his rookie contract. Well, I guess he got one extension off of that, but where he got stability, and it feels like long-term stability where the quarterback's not changing for at least the next 3 years. This is your guy. Go out there and make it happen with him. We want you to be here. You're going to get the money. And I love the fact that DJ's got to be the ultimate teammate because we talked to Keenan Allen today, and the first question was, DJ's lobbying for you to get your contract. What do you think about that? And he's like, here we go. I love it. Let's go. Like the fact that the first thing DJ says is, you know, all right, now it's Keenan's turn. Let's get this done. Like I just love that from a teammate standpoint. And as somebody who Flus has talked about as a face of the Chicago Bears and kind of that main leader of this team.
Can I jump in with a real quick thought about the face of this team? We all wondered, you know, George McCaskey has not wanted to be on Hard Knocks forever. And I thought that it was very telling that he was not in this episode, that this is definitely the new image of the Chicago Bears. And it is not a knock at all on George or the McCaskey family, because a lot of people don't realize the McCaskies, you know, they're in the background of a lot of things a lot of really good things that they do. They're very generous. They don't want people to know when they are generous. They know what their image is and they stay in the background. And I thought that the fact that you did not see George today in episode 1 was actually pretty telling. This is a new era in Chicago Bears football.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have expected to see him though. So that's not his thing to begin with. And so
George is like Batman. I've noticed that being up there a lot. He's a lot like Batman. Like you'll like look at him and be like, "Oh, George, how you doing?" You'll like shake his hand. I'll turn and be like, "Yeah, J-Mac, George is over," and then he's gone. I'm just like, "Where'd he go?" What?
He's pressing the flesh. He's shaking hands. He's at training camp. He's out there meeting fans, just like he was at the Hall of Fame when I was there during the enshrinement. There were so many Bears fans there, and he was out there shaking everybody's hand, meeting everybody. That's what he likes to do. He values the season ticket holder. He values the passionate fan base. but yeah, I think it'll. I also enjoyed, to your point, Peggy. Just the brain trust getting all together, making decisions, and it's good to see all that together and everybody on the same page and thinking things through. With a lot of making sure you're checking all the boxes before you go through with things. And it shows that this team is also very unified at every level, not only in the locker room, but in the front office. And, with ownership, bringing Kevin Warren in and making sure things are, getting done in a proper manner and moving forward with a big vision, because they don't want to just look at this as a Chicago brand. They want to be a global brand.
Right.
There are a lot of Bears fans worldwide. So anyway, I got to fly.
I got to fly too. Super fun, you guys. Appointment television now on Tuesday nights. I love it.
All right. Meller, you good, buddy?
Great to see you guys.
J-Mac, thanks for carting me around all weekend in Canton.
Anytime, my man. Anytime. You guys have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Take it easy, y'all.
See ya.
All right. I
Go
guess
Bears.
Pat, any final words as we let them fly? You and I can wrap things up here and say thanks to our presenting sponsor, Dr. Pepper, for helping us out on the first post-game show of the HBO Hard Knocks Bears training camp. I know you came in, so what were some of your takeaways from the?
I mean, listen, I for me the big thing that I took away from it was that they're really going through every single detail to try and get this quarterback right. They understand the moment. They understand, and I think that's what it's so funny. It's what we haven't seen so many GMs really get, and they've said we can just spend the money on it, right? Bringing in Jay Cutler was just throw as many picks at it as you can. He's a Pro Bowl level player. Spend as much money as you can. We're going to just figure it out. But it really feels like this team isn't just trying to throw as many picks at it as they can. They're not just trying to throw as much money at it as they can. They're trying to create their quarterback. And that's what, my major takeaway from episode 1 was. It's what had me the most excited about, kind of seeing the behind the scenes stuff is you see, right? Like I love how Nick Saban said, it's hilarious hearing post Coach Saban, like post being a Coach Saban, because he's just like, yeah, I never, want to out my quarterbacks. I want to talk to them and kind of see what they're hearing. And I'm like, I've seen you on the sideline, like reaming quarterback, but all right. Yeah, I mean, I love it. But just the fact that, they're trying to build things out for Caleb and understand what he's seeing and then tweak his vision. And you saw that with Shane Waldron coaching him and different things like that, and how they're trying to adjust his game to, okay, what are you seeing on this play? Okay, but now don't set yourself up so that you can't see this over here on this play when talking about the footwork. It's just exciting. It's exciting to see the Chicago Bears attacking the quarterback position, dare I say, how the rest of the NFL has attacked the quarterback position at least once. So I'm excited about that, and I think, episode 2, I want to see more of that. I want to see as much of that as I can possibly see.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I was before I hopped on, I was waiting to see if they would do a coming up this season on Hard Knocks, and I didn't get a trailer for the upcoming season, because even if it's just 30 seconds, 60 seconds, I'm all in on seeing what kind of morsels they'll give us before the show actually takes place. They did not give us that this week. So not a big deal, but I was just curious to see what they might let us in on. But to your point about Caleb Williams, yeah, like I said this at the top, they did not run away from the expectations or the comparisons. Hell, they doubled and tripled down on it by bringing in Ray Clay and throwing Caleb Williams to the Serious Bulls intro music. You know what I mean? So
that was nuts. Nuts.
It's like, and listen, it was a great move. There's a reason why Hard Knocks has been so successful for so many years. They know what they're doing. They know what good television is, and we got to see it firsthand here. But it's funny, pushing back. You saw it last week on First Take when Caleb was on with Stephen A. Smith, and Stephen A. is like, "Hey man, we saw what C.J. Stroud could do. I see you could do that. There's no reason why you can't. What do you think about that?" I see, every national pundit. I saw Rich Eisen pick the Bears to go to the NFC title game. I saw Nick Wright pick the Bears to make it to the Super Bowl. So it seems like every national pundit is one-upping the next guy. I think we're all waiting for is the next person to step out and actually Super Bowl this year. So the expectations are there. But the great thing is about Caleb, and I think if you look closely, you saw a lot of that on display in this first episode, Pat, is that he is mature enough to handle the expectations. It's not. I don't think it's going to happen right away. That there's a chance it could, but the reality is, rookie quarterbacks, there's going to be some growing pains generally. So the one encouraging thing is, I think if nothing else, if you see him do the karaoke and that obviously, which is fine, I think he is so one-dimensionally focused on being the best possible quarterback that he can be that the Bears should only benefit from that. And to your point about Ryan Poles going about this in a smart, intelligent manner and building a roster around him, that is exactly what I think most of us would do if we were building our ideal Madden franchise. Like, you can't argue with almost anything that Ryan Poles has done in supporting his number one for as a Bears fan for 43 years now. It's intoxicating to look at this and say, I finally got a GM who's doing exactly what I hope they would do. I don't know if it's going to lead to a Super Bowl, but at least as a Bears fan, I can be truly optimistic about the direction the franchise is going. And that's why it's so fun to have the Bears on Hard Knocks this year, because I could not be more giddy as a Bears fan.
Yeah, no, 100%. It is. I think what's so funny is, right, like, it almost feels like, and I know it's not in relation to it, but it almost feels like he's the first GM that sees the issues we've seen forever. He's now maybe, yeah. I mean, listen, address the offensive line a little bit more. I'd like to see that. I mean, that's really been one of our big issues. But like, how often have we literally sat here and gone, if you don't have this, this, and this, like these championship teams, you're not going to go out there and win. And it feels like Ryan Poles is just like, no, I agree. So let's get this, this, and this, and try and put ourselves in a better position this year. Let's go get the multiple wide receivers. You want to know why? Because we saw somebody go to the Super Bowl with having the weapons first in the Cincinnati Bengals, and we got a more mobile quarterback than Joe Burrow. Now, hopefully he can throw it like Burrow, but he's not going to be a statue back there. We've got the running game, just like we've seen multiple teams go to the Super Bowls with. We've got, right, like, it's like he hit all of these things that Bears fans have been begging for years, and it's the thing that I love about Poles is, right, you talk about expectations. He doesn't run from that assumption of it either. Remember when he signed Unique last year, he said, everywhere I went, all I heard was I need to sign an edge rusher. I knew that. And so, not because Bears fans said it, but I knew we needed to do it. So I signed an edge rusher. And it's a breath of fresh air being a Bears fan who, I mean, in my lifetime, I've never, I think you may have, Jeff. I've never seen a Bears quarterback that was drafted here get to a second contract.
Second contract. I mean, well, yeah, because Cutler obviously wasn't drafted by the Bears, even though he got the extension. Yeah. So outside of that, no. Like, I mean, I wasn't really old enough to remember what was going on with McMahon. I, was still way too young to actually recognize. No, like, yeah, it's a whole, it's fun to have the Bears finally step into the new modern NFL. And as much fun as it is for your team to have the history that the Bears have and to be built on winning games with the running game and defense, it's also far past time where you had a GM who recognized that, you know what, you can't play into your tradition when the rules no longer allow for your tradition to be the reason why you're successful. League, the NFL has long since moved in that direction. They want more points. They cater to the fantasy players out there who want and enjoy more points and more yards. And so, it's kind of a silly notion to try and build your team around defense and ignore the offense completely, right? So you can have a complementary defense, but you need, I think in this, it's the last decade or so, it's been proven that you truly need an elite offense and quarterback if you're going to win the Super Bowl and instantly. And so now, for the first time that I can ever remember, the Bears are moving in that direction. And you're right, the O-line, maybe a secondary pass rusher, are still points of need for the Bears. But the good thing is that I think we can trust and see what the vision of Ryan Poles, He's got some cap room left. There's still some possibility to make some, moves around the edges here as we approach the, we move into training camp and we approach the regular season. So they still have a room to maybe make a move. But if they can't do it, we know he's going to know what the priorities are next year. If the offensive line doesn't hold up the way he hopes he's found his diamonds in the rough, and if we know, next year's edge rushing class is supposed to be a very good one. So you can see already like the gears kind of working to what the Bears could be doing next year. And then hopefully you put it all together and they could just take off like a rocket ship. So it's just, like I said, it's really fun at this point. And then in conjunction with being on Hard Knocks, where we get the inside look, it's pretty awesome. So, and that's why we're going to be here every week breaking it down.
I just want new highlights. I love the 85 Bears. I love the 2006 Bears. The 2006 Bears are my Bears, but I get sick of every highlight being, I like this kind of party. And it's like everything that we do is just like those two. Like they introduced Hard Knocks with a trailer of no Bears that played post 2006. Like, yeah, I mean, like I want a new team,
and you
can't talk about.
You can't blame them. To your point, like, the Devin Hester kickoff return to start the Super Bowl was awesome, but the Bears lost the Super Bowl. So let's not forget that. As awesome as this weekend was, as awesome as that highlight was, it didn't result in a win. So we know what the primary goal is in that direction. So I think I'm going to call it quits here. Pat, you got any final words as we wrap this up here?
No, I think we're all good. I'm excited. Can't wait for next week on Hard Knocks. Shout out to our friends over at Dr. Pepper who are supporting this stream. I love the background. I appreciate us being able to do this where it's Bears fans having Bears conversation. It doesn't get any better than that.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll be here every week, 9:00 right after up the first airing. And we'll break it down on the post-game show on the ESPN Chicago stream on YouTube. So as Pap said, thanks to Dr. Pepper, and thanks to all of you for watching and listening. And we'll be back at it next week. Pat's, of course, got the Bears Podcast Daily, so check that out wherever you listen to your podcasts. And Pat and I will actually be coming at you on ESPN 1000 for the post-game show this week on Saturday. Probably get going around, I'm guessing 5:30.
5:30-ish.
Here go. Yeah, get wrapped up with the network post-game show. All right, so for Pat the Designer, I'm Jeff Miller, and for all our other Padres here at ESPN 1000, thanks for watching, folks, and thank you to Dr. Pepper. We will see you guys next week.
Stay safe.